What shocked me about running a business? For those of you guys who are new to the channel, hello, my name is Jasmine. I'm so glad to have you. I have been a full-time entrepreneur now for 6 years. I started during COVID. By the way, best decision I ever made for my life. I don't regret a minute of it. But one of the biggest shockers was I work the hardest now than I ever did at any job. Okay, and I had a lot of jobs. Before I got the 9 to 5 that I absolutely hated, I used to be the person that would quit a job like that. And these jobs were fast food. I've worked McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, Wendy's, Burger King, Hardee's. I've worked at grocery stores. I worked at Martin's, which used to be U-Crops, which is now Publix. I've worked at Kohl's. I got fired from Kohl's. I worked all those type of jobs, and then I got my full-time job, my first full-time job. I worked in a lab, and I got that job fresh out of college, and I was there for 6 years. So I worked a lot of jobs. And when I was working at that 9 to 5, which was my highest paying job at that time, they were paying me $60,000 a year, and I had benefits and all the things. I used to say, it's crazy. Like the more you make, the less you do, because reflecting between fast food jobs and that full-time job, I worked physically harder at fast food jobs than I did at this 9 to 5 where I'm sitting down all day. McDonald's was brutal. Okay? Fast food is brutal. Okay, they slaving you in there. And so I came to that realization, okay, the more you make, the less you work. That was the thought process I had. So I'm thinking now, well, if I just start a business and I make a lot of money in my business, the less I'll have to work. No, no, absolutely not. This is the most money I've ever made in my entire life through my business. And I work way harder now than I did at any job that I ever had, no matter what they were paying. I work about 16 hours a day. No bullshit. I do sleep for 8 hours. I get my 8 hours of sleep. But even when I'm working out, so I love to go on walks, you guys. I've talked about that in other videos. I'm on my phone. I'm on my phone posting. I'm on my phone talking to assistants. I'm on my phone editing videos, uploading content. Like, I only allow myself like maybe 45 minutes of my walk to just walk, because I walk for several hours. And the rest of my walk, I am on my phone working. When I'm creating content, like right now, which I do every day, I'm working. I'm sitting in front of my laptop. I'm queuing. I'm hiring. There's so many things that I'm doing that I don't really have much downtime. Now, I do have the freedom to create downtime. Like, for instance, today, after I finish recording content, I have a few appointments, so I won't be working as much as normal, but I'm still always working. That whole ideal that when you're an entrepreneur, you only work for an hour a day, that is so false. That is so false. And it's crazy because when I did start my online business, I went into it with that type of mindset that I would only have to work for an hour or two and I'd have the rest of the day do what I want. Yeah, sure, you can have the rest of the day to do whatever you want, but just know you're not going to make no money. So if you're cool with only making $500 a month and you got all these bills to pay and you know daggone well you're not going to pay it all on $500 a month, well then what? I work so much. I work so much. I don't have a social life. And it's crazy because I used to be embarrassed to say that, but now not so much. I don't have a social life. Okay, so I'm not at everybody's happy hour. I don't have people texting my phone, asking me what I'm doing. I don't have any of that. My life is very, very structured. It is very fulfilled. Like I don't feel like I'm missing anything or lacking anything, but I work a lot. And that is something that I wish social media would say to people who want to start businesses. I don't think that I'm doing anything that you can't do or that anyone else can't do. I know I'm smart, okay, but I'm not that goddamn smart. But what I will say is I am the person that's willing to put in 16 and 12 hours a day. Most people are not. Most people are cool with You know, they go to work for 8 hours, maybe 10 hours, but then when they clock out, that's it, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the thing. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're happy at your job and they don't mess with you and you can, you know, call out and not get written up, or you can come in late, leave early because you may have things to do with your family. If they don't stress you, right, and they pay you enough to live off of and you're not stressing about money or bills, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay? There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Somebody has to work. Everybody can't be entrepreneurs. But what I wish more people understood is you're not going to have as much free time as you think. You're not going to have as much free time as this internet is trying to make you feel. And none of the money that you make from social media is passive income. There's nothing passive about any of this. Nobody does passive work. Okay, I don't know where that ideal came from, but passive work is a lie. Okay? People who do real estate investments, for instance, it's not passive. They had to actively go and find the properties. They had to actively go and research. They had to actively find the contractors who they were going to hire to fix up the property so they could flip it. Nothing was passive about that. People who are investors, so that maybe they invest in other businesses. There's nothing passive about that. These people are researching the businesses, they're listening to the pitches, they're even helping the business grow after they've invested in the business. There's nothing passive about that. Everybody is working. Every single person is working. Even people who invest in into the stock market, they're still actively working. They're researching these companies before they invest in them. They're sitting in on the conference calls every quarter. There's nothing passive about any of that. So I don't know why people think that you don't have to do anything and you're going to make all this money, but that is a lie. And I thought that too. And I quickly found out. I quickly found out. And that's why it's important to make sure that you create a business and something that you truly, truly love to do, because then it's worth it. It's worth it. I couldn't imagine, well, I wouldn't be able to, but let's say I decided to make a YouTube channel about politics. I don't care. I don't care. I would not be able to show up consistently every day, multiple times a day, making videos on what Trump done did now. I wouldn't be able to do it because I truly don't care. It would be a nightmare, right? The same is true for celebrity gossip. So if you're going to create content and you want that to be your online business, or you want to sell an actual product, whether it's digital or physical, you have to truly like what you're doing. Like, you have to really, really like it, because it is going to be extremely hard, if not impossible, to be consistent. And you have to be consistent to make any money from it. And you have to be consistent for a very long time. Years, not days, not weeks, years. And that's the part that people don't realize. I also underestimated how much time it would take to consistently make a lot of money. Now, most entrepreneurs will tell you they've had, really good months, really bad months. You might have one outlier month where you made like $20,000, but that may not be your every month thing. Every month for you might be $5,000. It takes a very long time to get to a point in your business where you're consistently making $20,000 a month. And now the outlier might be $50,000, right? It takes a very long time to consistently make $5,000 a month. So people underestimate how much time it's going to take to make a livable amount of money from your business. And then people also underestimate how much work it takes to get it done, right? And I know I did. I made that mistake. That was a big mistake. And as you make more, you hire people to help you so that you can 2x your efforts, 5x your efforts, 10x your efforts, right? But I just didn't know. I didn't know, but I quickly found out. Leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. I can't wait to read what you have to say. Also, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And do not forget to join the Patreon. The link is down below in my description. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.